Good morning, everyone. Mike here, back to Homesteading Off Grid, coming at you with another video. We're still working on the shed. In the last video, I think I said we had kind of finished up on framing. I think I did do one more little thing. It's a hatch to get under the RV and also to push heat in there during the winter to get some heat underneath the RV so that we don't freeze up. Although we don't freeze up a lot. We get cold at night in the winter, but during the day it's almost always nice here. Anyway, come on with me on the journey today. We're going to do earth bags, and I'm going to kind of show you the process I have to go through to make the soil the right consistency. Almost making cob. It's not quite, but I'm going to show a couple of pictures that I'll put up here while I'm talking, and explain the test results that I had, and I'll show you an after I amended picture of the same soil. All right, so let's go get to work. Okay, so we're in here in the Arizona room, and first I'll show you, I got my tools and stuff out still, but you can kind of see the square box. That's going to give us the access under the RV and allow us to push heat from the wood stove over. These are sand bags, not earth bags. Why? Because there's almost no clay in them. In order to get them to tamp down, let me show you some of those. You need to have a little bit of clay in the soil. I amended one of them and with pure clay. Show you the clay bucket here. This is really ancient clay we got from a super secret location. They look like rocks right now. See, show you one. But all you got to do is add water, and you end up with clay. Okay. Now my hands are filthy. Then what we do is we put the clay in the sand over here, and I'll go over that, and we mix it up. Some people like to put it in a tarp and stomp it in their bare feet, and that sounds like fun. I'm kind of a clean person, and so I use my hands. I also have a hoe over here that I use to mix it up. You can use a shovel. Anyway, I mix it up just like I'm mixing up concrete. You can see I didn't clean this yesterday. Why? Because unlike concrete, all I have to do is put water in that, and that'll clean right up. So anyway, after I amended it, I'll show you the picture, but I want to show you, because I kept it, the amount of clay, and I'll show you on the picture what the percentage actually is a lot closer to. What I will do is I'll say the bottom is sand, that little darker line in the middle is silt, and then the top line is clay, and then above that there's some debris, and there's some debris floating. That would be what they call organic matter. Basically all your soils are going to have those in them at differing amounts. So the idea for earth bags and actually cob is somewhere between 10 and 30%. If you have 10% of clay, if you have 10% of clay, then you might want to add a little bit of cement as a stabilizer. You probably don't want more than 30%, because that will cause a lot of cracking and stuff, which is not a huge deal. You can patch that easy enough. Anyway, I'm not using any cement. I do have cement here, right there, but I'm not using any of it on these walls because the clay is coming out like I showed you. These are rock solid. I don't know if you could hear that or not, but they're about as solid as you can get. After you get them done, you want to cover them like that. See, I've got blankets, things to that's uncovered, things to protect it from the sun, because these bags are UV resistant. Oh, hi, kitty cat. But they're not UV proof. So after 6 months or a year or whatever, they will deteriorate, and we don't really want that to happen. I mean, after the walls are up and solid and dry, they're going to hold their form even if that disintegrates. But we're going to be covering it with cob and plaster, and on the outside probably a cement plaster. On the inside we'll use a lime plaster so that we can allow these things to breathe a little bit. Anyway, I'm going to get those pictures and then I'm going to get to work. One of the things that I wanted to show you was something that I do to bags that a lot of people don't. It's not necessary at all. It's just the way I'm doing it. This is an Earthbag. Okay, this is a smaller version than what you see a lot of people use because I'm old and I really only need, 10, 12-inch walls for this little shed. I won't go into all the details about the thermal mass and how much better a bigger bag is, but these things are hard enough to lift up for me, especially when I get higher up on the wall. So I went with these. They're about 35 cents a piece in 1,000, so I paid $3.50 for 1,000 of these. You see at the top, it's got an opening, and it's got the little tie strap right here, and on the bottom it's got, this is double sewn, and when you put these, you fill these earth bags up and you put them on the wall, then you have these tails that are going to be sticking out, and most people, like I said, they don't care because you're just going to cob over it. I wanted it to be a little bit tighter in, and so I'm going to grab it and flip it around, okay? And through the magic of TV, here's one that I did. All right, now if you look at the end, you can see that it's rounded instead of squared with that little thing hanging off. All of the sewing is all inside. It's still double sewn, and the top looks like this. The only drawback is now my strings are on the inside. You could pull them out and put them back in. You could strap these through that little loop to do it, but when I do it, I just bring them out, I fold them around, and I tie it like that, and I do that like 3 or 4 times. The purpose of those strings is to hold the earth in until I can lay the bag down, and you put this under, and if there's not enough room to put it under, just lay it out so the next bag will go on top of it and hold it close. I like this size. We've been using this size. It works pretty well. It hangs over the cinder blocks just a little bit, and that's okay. On the inside, it's going to be a cob floor. On the outside, we're going to be doing rock around the foundation, if you want to call it a foundation, so that it'll look pretty and it'll help to keep moisture from getting into the earth bags themselves, because you don't want to get moisture up in there, because then you're talking mold issues and stuff. We don't get enough rain to really worry about it, but I'm doing it that way anyway, because you never know. I mean, next monsoon could be huge. We had a really good one a few years ago, and we were actually stuck in here for, I don't know, 6 weeks or something like that during these storms. Not really stuck per se. We had 4-wheel drive, but we had plenty of food and water. There's no reason for us to go out. So anyway, I'm going to show you how to make the mix and put it in the bag and put a bag down to show you what that's like. Then I'm going to show you the hardest part, which is pounding them. It really, that's probably the hardest part on me, on my body. Pounding is the most difficult part, and you need to be ready for that. You will get used to it as you do it. I have the advantage of a hybrid building here, so I will do my 7 bags and pound them down and be done for the day. If you're doing a fairly big building, the idea is to do an entire way around and then smash them all down. that can be a lot of pounding, a lot of bags filling just in one day. What I have seen some people do, I've tried it with some success, is you could take something heavy. If you don't want to finish your row, take a cinder block or something big and heavy and put it down as your last earth bag. Pound everything down, and then when you come back, whenever you come back, you take that brick or whatever off and you just start right there and continue on. So I've done that once to see if it worked, and it did. It wanted to move a little bit, but not too bad. I used a cinder block. So I'll bring you back when I'm starting to mix the sand and clay. All right, here I am out here in my sand pile, and I'm filling a number 10 can. I do have a lot of sandbags, and those are about 3 cans, maybe a little bit more. But I wanted to show you the way I'm measuring. 3 of these cans, and I'm going to put that in with the other 2 that I already did. Excuse the camera shaking. I'm going to pick it up here. I'll try to clean that up a little bit so you don't get all funny. I know I don't have my hat on. Let me turn this thing around so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so here's my 3rd can. There's can 1, there's can 2, and can 3. Okay, so 3 cans. Then I kind of go through it, kind of break up clods. That's not going to matter. I'm kind of looking for things like this stick. No reason for that to be in there. Little rocks and stuff, I don't care about. Just fairly clean sand. It looks pretty good. All right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a can of the clay to put in it. So I'll reset this camera so you can watch me do that. All right, hopefully I have that set up to where you can kind of see what I'm doing. For the 3 cans of, let me use this one instead. 3 cans of sand, I'm going to use 1 can of clay, complete with a few dead flies. No, I'll get the flies out if I can. Okay, this isn't rocket science. You don't have to be exact or anything. Okay, here's my can of clay. Empty it out. Now, a lot of times when Judy and I are working together, we'll do 6 and 2. Still maintaining that same ratio. And then of course I rinse my hands because I like to be fairly clean. And then I'm gonna grab my hoe and I'm gonna start moving this stuff around, kind of trying to mix the sand and the clay. Obviously it's way too dry. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is take my can that I used, get half a can of water. That's about a half of a can, and start mixing it up. Making videos while you're doing this stuff is actually a little bit more difficult. One of the reasons I don't do a lot of videos is I'm not a contract or content creator making content. I'm a homesteader, and I'm trying to show you kind of what our daily life is like. I'll show you some of the projects we're doing. It's one of the things about being off the grid out here without a lot of money is you gotta kind of do everything yourself. Okay. I'm the kind of person where if I can do it, I'm not going to hire anybody anyway. But a lot of people are out there and they make their living being content creators, and so they're always trying to find things to do. And a lot of them have a lot of money, you know, so they just buy everything they need. I will admit that I hired a little help for the construction of the roof, and because I just couldn't do it myself. I used to be able to, but I can't now. Okay, so that's really wet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab some more sand. About a scoop. My clay content is fine, even with that little extra half scoop. And I'm going to mix that in to try to dry this out some. You don't have to worry if it gets a little too wet. It will dry, and unlike concrete, it's not going to weaken it. It's going to dry out of it and make it just as hard as an adobe brick, minus the straw. The difference is, from an adobe brick, is that an adobe brick you're putting into a form and you're adding straw, kind of like tensile strength. With earth bags, what you're doing is you're just making these bricks without straw. You're using the bag both as the form and for whatever, the tensile strength, I guess you'd say. All right, so it's still a little bit wet. I'm gonna just take a break, and that's Laborious. I'm gonna take a break, get something to drink. Make sure you keep hydrated when you're doing all this, and clean your feet off if you did it with your feet, which I didn't do. And then we'll fill a bag, so I'll bring you back for that. All right, I'm ready to do the next part, and that is fill the bags. Now, you got your bag. How do you fill it? You set it down, it's going to fall over. Have somebody hold it for you. And we did that earlier this year with the rocks, and we found that it would slip out of your hand or whatever, and end up being just a mess, and everything ends up on the ground. So what we found with this size bag, these pots, okay, you get them with little trees and bushes in them from the nursery. I think that's a 1 gallon size. So I cut out the bottom, and it just happens to be the perfect size for this size bag. Okay, so then I scooch it up in here, and then I'm going to put it in. I need to show you this. Okay, you put it in something to hold it for you. Now this frame is an old frame that I had from when I bought my rototiller, metal frame that it came in, and it's perfect for this. I also use it with a sifter on top of it to throw dirt on to get rocks and stuff like that. It's very, very versatile. So this is an old piece of plywood I had, old, and I cut the holes in it to fit these pots, and they slide right down in there. Okay, and they hold it like that. Then all you do is take your dirt, your soil, your earth, in it goes. You can do it by hand, you can do it with a shovel, whatever. Fill your bag up. Another nice thing about this pot that I'm using to hold it is when it gets right to the bottom of the hole I cut out, then it's ready to be tied up. So if I'm a little short, I can make some more. If I'm decide I'm a little wet, I can throw a little sand in there. If I decide that my mixture was a little bit too sandy, I can throw a little clay in there. Usually you're going to find that the mixture that I said, for me it was 3 in 1, basically 4 cans of this mix, and it's just about enough for a bag. A little extra. I'll show you how much I have left here in a second. All right. Sorry for all the shaking around. But anyway, there's my pot. If I can see that, there we go. And here's what I have left over. And that'll go into the next one. Now, if you're doing 2 at a time, that would be 6 sand for me. 6 sand and 2 of the clay. And I end up with enough for just about 3 bags. So I don't know if you can hear me okay. I'm talking up as much as I can. I had to kind of set it up like this so that you could see me do this part too before I set it. Just pull the bag out. See, the bag is self-supporting now. Not supporting like it's not going to fall over, but it's not going to fall apart. So I pull the bag out. See, that's probably 50 pounds. And I'm going to bring it out here, tie it. Oops, see, that's what happens if they've been in the sun too long. Some of these bags were. So I'm going to try to fix that the best I can. I'm just going to pull the strings out of the hole and redo this. You said this is to hold the earth in, not to seal it. So this will work just fine. All right. It's heavy. All right, so now I want it up against this pole. If you remember, I poured the concrete here. Oh, by the way, I did get a little crack. Probably can't see that. It's just because I didn't keep it wet as it dried. You remember the rocks I placed down so that it would have something to grip? And see, this got a little bit of a hole here. It's going to do the same thing. The soil's going to go down and lock it in on this. So I take it, slam it up against there, trying to get it nice and even. Then, where's my cinder block? And, oh, I'm only doing one, so I'm going to tuck this underneath, like this. Then I'm going to throw the cinder block on here, up against it, to imitate another bag. Because you really want to do, I wait till I get this whole row done, and then I pound the whole row. I'm using a commercial purchased pounder with a metal handle. You can literally make one of these out of, try to get the tarp out of the way, out of a stick and some concrete. I see them do it, and then I see it break. You can also make it, let me move this over. You can also make it with, or you can buy one that has wood here and save a little bit of money. I'm like, this is a one-time purchase. I bought this. It's only a 1 foot square, so it's not the biggest one. It's got a nice rubber handle, and they're not sponsoring this video. Not even tell you where I bought it, but look for the all metal one, and you'll never have to worry like other people have had to do. All right, then what you're gonna do, you're gonna pound. Oops. See, it's easier if you have a whole bunch, and you want to just keep going, pounding along the line of earth bags so that they all kind of become bricks and they're smashed into each other too. You see I'm a little bit high here and low here, so I'll smash this some more, and I'll just go back and forth a couple of times. You want to get as hard as you can. This bag ended up a little wet, so keep that in mind. Alright, now you can see a little moisture coming through. Most of my bags are dry enough that you don't see that, but it'll dry. And if you push on it, see, it's still a little soft, but push on this one, you can't do it. I hit it with a hammer and it indented, but it didn't really go in. Just pound it back and forth until you're happy with it, and move on. Like I said, I highly recommend you do your whole row rather than using this cinder block. The next bag is going to go right up against there. So I hope that this helps you understand how to do earth bags and how to have the right sand, clay, silt mixture. Okay, I'm going to do a pro tip section here. Not much, and not really a pro, but it's a tip to show you some things that you might come across. One, you'll notice, where'd the bag go? All right, let's go over here and I'll show you what happened. Let me flip this around so you can see. All right, well, there it is. After I smashed it in, as with any time you're trying to do a video, it's not going to come out exactly how you wanted it. After smashing it down, I felt it, and it felt wrong. It just felt too soupy. And so what I did is I picked it up. Okay, the bag's over there now. Dumped it in here. I didn't want to add more sand because I had already added some, and I didn't want to reduce my amount, and adding clay would just add more moisture. So what I did is I got another 3 cans of sand and another 1 can of clay and made a double batch. I think I said earlier I don't like doing a double batch because it's a little harder to get it all mixed up if you're have any kind of weakness at all from age or whatever. Even my friend, who's a pretty strong guy, he mentioned that it was a little rough making a double batch. Anyway, so I mixed it up, and you can see that it came out a lot better. It's much drier than it was. What my pro tip is, that I forgot to mention in the video, is grab a chunk of it and squeeze it together. Okay, you see how it holds together? Now with cob, you want to be able to roll a log out of it. This, you see, is going to break. Makes a nice clod, but if you drop it, it's going to break. Okay, so I'm a little light if I'm going to do cob. Maybe the straw will help. We'll find out better. But that's my tip. If you didn't do a test, get it wet, squeeze it together. If it makes something that looks like a piece of poop, but you can still break it apart, then you're good to go. Another pro tip for you, when you get it all mixed up, like I said, I use a hoe. I do like to get in there at the end with my hands and move things around. That's why you might have seen that it was pretty smooth. Here's my next batch. What you're looking for after you get it all mixed up is little clay balls. Okay, and you're mixing it all up, you're going to come across a clay ball and you want to squish it out, mix it up with the sand. The more of that you do, the better your mix is obviously going to be. Should be fairly common sense, but I don't think I mentioned it, so I thought I would.